Foreword. There have been numerous times throughout my life when God has divinely appointed people who have forever changed and edified me. Meeting Bill and Annette Wees was one of those God moments for me. I met Bill and his beautiful wife, Annette, when I was a movie critic for several media outlets and had an evening radio talk show, Holly McClure Live, in San Diego, California. One day, a mutual friend called and recommended that I interview a man who had come to her Bible study and told off an amazing experience God had given him in hell. At the time, I produced my own show, and since Halloween was fast approaching, I thought the subject of someone claiming he went to hell and saw demons would, at the very least, make for a great radio show. After agreeing to Bill on without ever having met him, I naturally have some concerns about his story and wasn't sure how he would come across to my listening audience. But after calling him and listening to a brief description of what he went through, I knew within minutes that he was telling the truth. His humble manner and godly character were immediately transparent as his soothing voice calmly relayed his harrowing experience. When I hung up, I knew that instead of simply doing a great radio show, Bill's message would end up being so much more. God had a powerful plan and unseen purpose for not only the hour, but also for the friendship that lay ahead. I opened my show with a sobering reminder that my guest and his subject were not a joke or a hoax. I mentioned how our culture has trivialized the subject of hell to such an extent that we, in fact, celebrate with devil costumes, demonic masks, and candy on Halloween, the second most commercialized holiday in America. I added that Bill's experience was a different side of hell, one day never heard before, one that was terrifying, real, and permanent. I told them that Bill's testimony would more likely change their lives forever. Then we began the show. For the entire hour, Bill told about his journey to hell. I was enthralled and mesmerized with his detailed account. I took no phone calls. At the end of the show, we simply gave out his pager number because he didn't have a ministry, website, book, or phone number for people to call. By the time I closed my show, Bill's pager was buzzing nonstop. Journey to Hell was one of my most popular shows. I received numerous requests for tapes and a barrage of phone calls and emails asking me to replay Bill's story in the weeks and months that followed. Bill received testimony after testimony of how his message had changed people's lives. Some of those stories are featured in this book. As the three of us sat in my studio that night, we knew something wonderful had just happened. Each of us felt the presence of God hovering over that show, and we knew that God was working to change the hearts, minds, and lives of those who had tuned in for even a few brief moments. We likewise knew God had divinely brought us together for a greater purpose than simply an appearance on a radio show. That night, I pledged my willingness to do everything in my power to help Bill get his story told. I've been a film critic since the late 1980s, so I've reviewed thousands of movies. I can assure you that just as there are countless people of faithful ask God to help them write or create a spiritual message in films, it's not hard to imagine that there are likewise countless screenwriters and special effects artists who may have been influenced by the demonic realm to realistically portray demons and the hellish underworld. Our culture has become desensitized and conditioned to accept various forms of demonic creatures, caricatures of Satan, and glimpses of hell as simply entertainment. Remember when the word hell used to be considered a curse word? My younger sister repeated what she learned from the neighborhood boys and got her tongue swabbed with the bar soap just for saying hell. Oh, how times have changed. These days, the word has permeated our culture. Hell is hardly considered a curse word or even a bad word, and it has steadily become part of our culture slang, a figure of speech that has crept into our everyday vocabulary. Television and movies have inundated us with the use of the word so that we hardly notice it's being used. How many times have you heard a character say, "go to hell" or "hell no," or someone casually use a phrase like "hot as hell" in everyday discussions? Since the significance of the word has been culturally watered down, it would be reassuring to find the true definition, impact, and consequences of hell preached from our nation's pulpits. But the hellfire and brimstone message from Dante's Inferno that was taught years ago in various denominations is no longer a popular subject with modern-day, religiously correct churches. In fact, hell is considered too negative for most preachers, who are afraid of scaring away to growing congregations. The idea that a person could actually spend eternity in hell seems to have been deleted from the church, along with moral absolutes. Although America is generally considered a Christian nation, In fact, there are a large number of people who are non-Christian or practice no religion at all. A recent poll asked more than 1,000 Americans about the subject of eternal life, and 67% believed that their souls would go to heaven or hell when they died, while 24% did not believe that either heaven or hell even existed. That statistic, the people who don't believe heaven or hell exist, is why I'm passionate about sharing Bill's story. God has sent Bill with a wake-up message for you and those you love, because God doesn't want anyone to spend eternity without Him. Hell is a real place, but telling people they might go there is not an easy or popular message. God knew what He was doing when He gave Bill that difficult task of sharing his story. He knew that Bill's character, his integrity, his faith, and his godly wife will support him with her amazing prayers, would guard the message with truth and protect it with honor. I am blessed to have met Bill and Annette and to call them friends. I am privileged to be a part of this extraordinary gift from God. Holly McClure.